We've made a number of changes here. There are two very obvious lines. They appear in red and they're here. I'm not going to deal with those two yet. The other lines are less obvious. The first one is we've added the word random. We've put a comma and added the word random to our imports. The next is an alteration. We've stopped our rain_x from being assigned the value 400. And instead, we've used this new library of commands to create something. And that's all the new commands. They're all the new lines. So my advice is pause the video and type in the commands, and then before you run it, just come back to the video. Okay, so we know that this list loads a library of commands that we can use, and Pygame commands are all related to creating a game. We've got the sys here, system controls. Random seems a little bit, well random. What is random? Well, it means non-predictable. We can't work out. It happens by random. It's just chance what happens. And that's the thing about this here. This line here is saying, using our library random, run the instruction rand int. Now that sounds a bit strange, but rand is simply short for random, int is short for integer, and an integer is any whole number. So 12 is an integer, minus 37 is an integer, 0 is an integer, 3.729 is not, it's a decimal. So an integer is any whole number. So it says, this is saying randomly select an integer value, a whole number. The next part tells it the range from 0 to 800. So it could choose 0, it could choose 800, it could choose 700, or 15, or 237, or 645, or any of the other options. There are 801 different values it can select. Don't forget 0 is one of those values. It can't choose -1 because it's below 0. It can't choose 801 because it's above 800. So this is saying randomly select a value from 0 to 800 and assign it to our rain_x. So what would our rain_x value be? We have no idea, because the system, the computer, will randomly select a value between 0 and 800. What's the impact of that? Well, the x, as you have probably found out, rain_x controls the horizontal appearance of our line. We need to run the code a couple of times to see the real impact. But if I run the code now, I'm going to see my first raindrop. There's the raindrop there, down the center, roughly about there. Now, hopefully our random statement doesn't choose something very close to there. Hopefully it's starkly different, and there it is, it's over there. So we've had one there and we've had a raindrop there, and just to prove that I haven't just told it to choose two different, clearly I haven't, you can see that in the code, but there's the other raindrop. And one final time, really to get our confidence that the raindrop is going to appear anywhere, there it is there. Now these lines, what are these lines doing? How did they impact the program? Well, we can see that the random did, because it made the dot appear everywhere else, but these didn't seem to have any impact at all. And in fact, they have no impact on the program at all. They are not there for the program. When Python is executing this file, it comes across these lines, and this hash tells it to ignore this line. Don't even bother about reading it in, just ignore it, completely ignore it. So this is completely and utterly ignored by the program itself. So why do we put them in? Because it tells me, the programmer, what either this line does or what these lines do. So loops until 1. This is a loops until 1. So I now know that's an infinite loop that's running there. What's causing the loop? That is. I can use comments at the above lines. I can use the tab key to push away and use the hash at the end of the line. So creates a screen, a window better, 1000 pixels wide by 600 pixels high. I can make my window a little bit larger to there, and now I've got something that the next programmer is going to look at my code and go, oh okay, that's what this does. I can comment. Now, one of the greatest complaints by most programmers is people do not comment their code enough. There are times when we have complained they have commented it too much. So you do have to balance your comments. Certain programs, and I can think of some web server software where the comments outnumber the actual instructions by a long way, and you think to yourself, really? So it's a fine balance. I would suggest that maybe this line isn't that essential, but it's quite important. But these ones, lines above, that tell us what the section of lines are, would be very useful. Ones that tell me what variables do are incredibly useful. So I could either put them above or next to. It's worth now, after this video, going through and commenting on all the lines that you know, so that you can confirm to yourself that you do know them.